only the thickest of your audience members will not recognise what you've done. The really stupid ones will go, "Oh, all right, well, great answer." The others will go, "Hold on, he hasn't addressed a single bit of this." He verbalised it for me, though, which was nice, because I took that little chunk of him actually saying what was said on his tweet.
I think it's 14 or 15 videos in the last week or so. All off the back of a tweet that I sent him, which was, I think it was something like, you and your reference frames have been ruined. And there was a little video of a tractor pulling a trampoline and a guy jumping up down on the trampoline. I think it was something like, you and your reference frames have been ruined.
Thank you very much, Dan. Really useful. But you didn't actually address it. Whose reference frames again? Well, he's never going to address that, because he can't. Because we don't have any. Flat Earth aren't claiming anything to do with drift and reference frames. Only the Globe side claim that, and Dan's debunking it. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Yeah, there's always going to be, if I'm in whatever mood to make more videos, there's plenty of things to exploit to make into a subject of the moment. You know, SciManDan, for example, that tweet's a year old. This isn't a recent occurrence. I've decided to turn this into a thing. Because why not? We're debunking Globe left and right. If there's a new angle left open to be exploited, I'll exploit it. In the case of SciManDan, it's not like he's had a shock. You know, I've responded to this multiple times, not just in the last few videos. You know, over the course of a year. This isn't a new occurrence. This is something that Dan's had plenty of opportunity to respond to. The fact that I'm now labouring it a bit more than ever, it's like, so what? People suddenly assume that I need SciManDan. It's like, not really. Last week it was Thunderfoot. You know, once I've chewed down and spat him out, I'll have no use for him anymore. He'll be rode hard, put away wet, and then forgotten about.
Well, whether they said something a year ago or they say it tomorrow, if they say it, they said it. And they're saying it to defend the Globe model. They're not going to change their mind, so it's not out of date when you use it.
No, the arguments haven't changed. Our position holds firm in every respect. So, yeah, it's not going to change any of the arguments. It's what I focus on at any given time. It's just what I decide to focus on at any given moment. Obviously, if you're a SciManDan fan, it's all going to feel very personal, right? Okay, that's good. No worries.
Well, for someone to say you and your reference frames are ruined is really just proving they don't know their own argument.
Right.
And then attacks you on diffraction instead of answering what it means with reference frames are ruined.
I was pleased at that, because on one level, you might think, okay, do people recognise a straw man when they see it? And they may not. Most people aren't necessarily au fait with fallacies. However, what he did was so overt that unless you're of really limited intelligence, you're going to recognise a dodge when you see one, right?
Yeah, well, even the way he was speaking, did you see how anxious it was? It was like really trying to make something up, you could say.
Yeah. He had nothing. He just offered up a straw man. And, you know, don't get me wrong, a few people have come back to me and said, what's diffraction? And I've gone, it's a second reference frame turning underneath stuff and not attached. That's what it is. But
you and your reference frames have been ruined.
There's been very limited people that have latched onto a very old straw man that doesn't have any bearing on the argument. You know, if you want to take it as I look bad, when I was out of my echo chamber on someone else's show, being fundly muted by conspiracy cats, if you want to take that as looking bad on me, no worries. But here we're arguing about things in detail that have a specific nature to them. What's diffraction got to do with either side of the argument? Well, maybe you can tell me. If it's critical to something we argue, let me know. Because, as far as I'm aware, we unpick the hijacking of perspective by way of the diffraction limit, a point I was unable to get across to conspiracy cats with all the fundy muting. But it has absolutely no relevance to reference frames Dan's ruined. No relevance. So it's just a red herring. Well, actually a straw man, because it seems related. and it's easily refutable by him. What? He doesn't understand what diffraction is. Okay, let's take it as read. Yeah, okay, I don't. Moving on, Dan's debunked Earth turn. Now, the fact that I detail diffraction limits and have done for about 3 years is irrelevant, because it's not part of the argument. He wants me to latch onto his straw man. Like I care. It's water off a duck's back, mate. Yeah? No, mate, it's just dribbling straight off me when you try and attack me on that level. I'll just refocus even more so on your dodge. Because obviously this is concerning for you. You haven't addressed it, SciManDan. You've just dodged it. Only the thickest of your audience members will not recognise what you've done. The really stupid ones will go, oh, all right, well, great answer. The others will go, hold on, he hasn't addressed a single bit of this. He verbalised it for me, though, which was nice, because I took that little chunk of him actually saying what was said on his tweet. Thank you very much, Dan. Really useful. But you didn't actually address it. Whose reference frames again?
You and your reference frames.
Well, he's never going to address that, because he can't. Because we don't have any. Flat Earth aren't claiming anything to do with drift and reference frames. Only the globe side claim that, and Dan's debunking it. What an idiot. How's he going to address that? He can't. He's got to count out to Rumpus and say he believes in drift. Well, when he said that, what drift caused by 2 reference frames he says are ruined? He's absolutely cornered. He's got to do something, so he seemed to respond, because it would seem like, oh, well, why haven't you responded? Just take him to pieces, Dan. 1 video and you'll own him. With a straw man about a non-related subject. And they'll recognise that. Unless you're thick. If you're watching this and you're a SciManDan fan, you haven't recognised that. Know this. You're thick.
I still don't understand why SciManDan just can't be a man. Call him out as a wuss, so straight. Just be a man and come and talk.
He should just change the name to SciDan. Take away the man.
Am I to understand he put out a new video, and this is in response to that? Because he didn't really directly respond to the new video.
Yeah, he repeated verbatim with some stuttering.
Like you and your reference frames.
Which was very amusing. You and your reference frames have been ruined. Or, to parrot him more accurately, you and your reference frames have been ruined. And then went on to hold up a conspiracy cats argument I had on Sleeping Warriors channel as a response. I appreciate an ad hominem attack when I see one. I appreciate a straw man fallacy when I see one. But my point is, if you're an audience member and you're on tenterhooks waiting to hear the response to whose reference frames are you talking about, what have you debunked, the question that's been asked, and he says, 16 videos about it. Well, yeah, I make daily videos, and if the subject's you, I'm going to put you in the title, and I will continue to do so. You know, you're going to be permanently part of the show, Dan, if you're watching this, because, like, people who declare gas go down like bouncy balls, we're never going to let that fish back in the water. You're that fish. You know, you being cornered and not being able to address your error is hilarious. So it's never going to go away. If you want to number the videos, keep counting, man. When we get to 100, you'll realise that that's not going to work either. That's somehow not going to defend your egregious error regarding your own claim from your globe side of this argument that we have drift with 2 reference frames. Quote, SciManDan. You and your reference frames have been ruined. End quote, SciManDan. Well, whose reference frames, Dan? I haven't got any. But your side has, and they claim drift with it. Something you told Rumpus you believe in. Well, that means he's buggered. No other way to describe it. Do you think we're going to let that go? Do you think telling me that I've made 14 videos on it is somehow going to shame me into not highlighting Dan's error over and over? No. Clearly these people don't know me very well. Ask Thunderfoot how quickly I'll let this go. No, I won't, ever.
It's not just a little error or misspeaking. This is at the crux of their argument about what their globe model is supposed to be. I mean, it's not some kind of moot point that you make a mistake. I mean, they're the ones, they're saying the Earth is turning. And you got Coriolis, Earth-based. Well, you got to have 2 reference frames to have that. And then he says, well, those are ruined.
You and your reference frames have been ruined, and there was a little video of a tractor pulling a trampoline and a guy jumping them down.
I don't think he knows the argument himself.
I don't think he understands the argument.
He still hasn't told us why he's showing a tractor with a guy bouncing. It's got nothing to do with Coriolis. And then when asked to explain it, he goes over diffraction.
Which has nothing to do with it. So it's a diffraction.
As I say, his audience are going to recognise that. It's not subtle.
No, it isn't. That's the point. That's why it's hilarious.
Nathan, you and your reference frames.
Like I've edited him together to make it seem like he's stuttering. No, he's just stuttering Simon.
I think it was something like you and your reference frame.
I still say when you eloquently articulate their argument, they, in their minds, because they're, I guess, mentally held back, think that that's your argument and and how easy it is to debunk, but they don't realize it's their argument.
Yeah, well summarised. So I say, of course Earth isn't turning underneath. That would shorten flight times. They hear that and say, Nathan's arguing that Earth should turn underneath planes. So I'm going to debunk that. So SciManDan comes along and says, look, here, tractor moves, and Guy doesn't move away from the tractor, he moves with it. See, stuff doesn't move underneath. And it's like, that's your claim. You're claiming Earth turns underneath. With 2 reference frames. So what's the full entirety of Dan's tweet to go with this demonstration of no drift? You, fundies, you, yeah? With your globe belief and your 15 degrees an hour drift, you and your reference frames have been ruined. Not mine, I don't have any. But that's just the kind of clownness we have to deal with when you can summarise their own argument and they don't understand it themselves. Dan clearly doesn't understand the Coriolis argument. If he did, he wouldn't be so stupid as to debunk his own claim.
Yeah, but that's what ballers are forced to do with especially the top 3 of the housekeeping questions, because when it comes to saying, well, demonstrate in reality, they can't, so they start straw manning and red herring and doing everything they can instead of just answering it. Well, if it existed, you shouldn't be dancing around. Just answer us. How is it happening?